Thank you very much for receiving us here. at your home. Thank you, Mataji, for inviting us here. So, I think it's my first time here, no? Very good. Very good. So, as we talked yesterday, you suggested to me to speak about Krishna consciousness in relation to science, isn't it? So I'm going to read something. Prabhupada speak about the great scientist Isaac Newton. Very nice quote he speaks. Okay. All right. Are they seeing us? How many are there? Okay. 3 is good. All right. Very good.
There's one more from Alabama. He's streaming from there. One more
Okay.
devotee from Alabama.
Okay. Very good. Who?
From Alabama.
Okay. Very nice. Welcome everyone from Phoenix and from Alabama, all over. I'm sharing also, so they can also take part. Let me invite somebody else who likes to hear my lectures from Phoenix also. Okay. What it is? So, Oma Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble respectful obeisance unto him. All right, so everybody knows who is Isaac Newton, isn't it? No? Okay. Actually, he was a very humble person. He was a big scientist, famous in his time, even now also. But so this is a Vidya means he must be very gentle. Namra. That is Vidya. Education does not mean unnecessarily to become proud. Just like we hear that even a great scientist, Sir Isaac Newton, he used to say, "What knowledge I have got? I have simply collected a few grains of sand from the big beach." Yes, that's his humbleness. This is from lecture in Mumbai, October 1973. And there's another quote here also. Devotee, Srila Prabhupada, how does a person become more humble? Prabhupada, that he has to learn how to become humble. Trinada pi sunichena tarora pi sahishnana. If you preach Krishna consciousness, so many people will chastise you. The government will not allow you to go on the public street, and you will not get visa. You will be refused to enter. So you have to tolerate all these things. That is humbleness. Well, I mean to say, this quote by Prabhupada is in October 29, 1975. And he was denied visa recently. I know because he visited our temple in Venezuela, South America in February 75. And after 3 months, in May, he wanted to come back. He liked the temple so much, he wanted to come back, visit again. And he sent one devotee in Los Angeles to the embassy, Venezuelan embassy, and he was denied the visa. Because they were anti-religious at that time, the government. They were against all religions, so that's why they denied. But when Prabhupada arrived, he was very well received in the sense that a devotee's father worked at the airport, and he convinced the director to have a VIP treatment for Prabhupada. It was his first time coming to South America, so the director agreed, and he himself went to welcome Prabhupada and take him to the VIP room. Prabhupada didn't have to go through immigration or anything like that, and he had a press conference, it was very nice. And when we went to the car to the temple, to police on motorcycles accompanied the car also. So it was very nice, actually. But I mean to say, he said, you have to tolerate. Humble means that when you speak about Krishna consciousness, you will, so many people will oppose you or not agree with or challenge, whatever. You tolerate this thing. That means humbleness. You don't protest. No? So Prabhupada liked Sir Isaac Newton, that he used to say very humble, although he was a great scientist, he said, what knowledge did I got? Only I collected few grains of sand in the big beach, so he didn't take much credit for himself. And he did believe in God, he was a atheist. He was not a atheist like many nowadays, So science means to make you humble, to understand we are so small and God is so great. That's the meaning, actually. And nowadays, many scientists are opening up their mind to the fact that there is higher intelligence in the universe, They're accepting that. Even another great scientist, what was his name? From Europe? Einstein. Einstein, when he was a child, he challenged his professor. You know the story? You want to hear it? So, his professor at school was atheist, So, and the argument the professor was giving was, there is so much evil in the world, could not be a God. Otherwise, why will God allow so much evil in the world? There must be no God then. That was his conclusion. But Einstein, he was still, young boy, he challenged him. He said, Professor, can I say something about this? Yes. Do you believe that cold exists? You say, of course. Of course, cold exists. He said, no, cold doesn't exist. Cold is only the absence of heat. When the temperature goes down, we call it cold, but it's only the absence of heat. Do you believe in that there is what you call darkness? Of course. No, darkness is only the absence of light. So he defeated his own professor. In the same way, evil in the world is the absence of God in the heart of the people, he said. I was challenged some time ago. I went to preach in one university in South America, Central America, in El Salvador. And one student challenged me the same question. If God is there, why is there so much evil in the world? I mean, if God created, if he asked me the question like this, did God create the whole universe? I said, of course, yes, he did. Then, if that is so, that means that God also created evil, because we see much evil in the world, so that means he created the evil. I said, no, he didn't create evil. Then who created evil? Of course, the Abrahamic religion, they say Satan, no? They blame poor Satan on everything. But do you know from where this idea of Satan came? Okay, in the West, in the Western religion, this came from Zoroaster. You know Zoroaster? Zarathustra. Zarathustra. He's from Iran. He's from 4,000 years ago. Very old philosopher. He came with the idea, philosopher means speculate, make new ideas. So he came with the idea that God could not have created this world because there is so much evil in this world. So he came with the idea there must be two gods. One good God who is in heaven, another bad God who created this world. That was his idea. He even went to India to try to introduce his idea. But he was not successful there because they have better philosophy there. So he went to the Middle East and convinced the Jew to adopt his idea that there is a good God and evil God. Of course, that bad God eventually became Satan, Somebody who's opposing God eternally, And he has his kingdom in hell, and he's stealing people from God. So he's more successful than God. He's collecting more souls to his side, isn't it? So that idea is wrong. I will explain why. Because God can't have competitor. Nobody is equal to him. Nobody is superior to him. If there is actually a person called Satan opposing God, why can God go to hell, kill him, finish the business? If he's all powerful, he can do anything he wants, isn't it? Otherwise, he's not all powerful if he can fight Satan and kill him for good. Isn't it? Make sense or not?
Makes sense.
Okay. That's all about Krishna consciousness. Makes sense. It's logic, argument, That's science. Science means you use your common sense and logic, isn't it? So then, from there, this idea came. So I told this student, challenging student, that the same way that darkness is the absence of light, the same way when we give our back to God, we turn our face away from God. We create evil, not God. He's giving us free will, how we choose to act, how we choose to be good or bad. That's our choice. One devotee in Phoenix asked me this question: why Krishna doesn't take away our free will so we just obey him? And I told him then it will have no value. If we are all like robots, we can do only one thing. It has no value. But when you have free will and you can choose the right or the wrong path, and you choose the right one, then it's very valuable. To God, it's very valuable because you could have chosen something else and you choose the right thing. Then he appreciates very much that you did that. Understand? So that's why it's so important, free will, because it differentiates us from dead matter. Dead matter has no will, no desire, no life. To have life means to have freedom to choose. Either way, God or no God. To obey God or to disobey him, or not to believe in him. If somebody wants to become atheist, he can give intelligence how to become a very good atheist. Like this scientist, what's his name? He died recently. Steve Hawkins. I saw a video he's talking. His argument, his main argument not to believe in God is, well, we don't need God to explain the universe because we have the laws of nature. I would have asked him the question, if there are laws of nature, who's the lawmaker? Laws don't appear by themselves like this. It's a common sense thing. But because they Maya Parita Gyan, Maya has stolen their intelligence, they can't even understand such a simple thing. That things don't come up just by themselves out of thin air, There must be some intelligence behind. Recently, a big atheist, I can't remember his name right now, big atheist, famous atheist, wrote books and conferences. He became a believer in God. He said, why? Because I found scientific proof that there is God. And what scientific proof did he find? He found that the DNA is so complex and so elaborate that it's impossible that just came out by itself. It's very clear by studying it scientifically that there is an intelligence behind it, who did it, who made it. So that's how he became a believer in God. He didn't join any religion. They invited him, Christian, this religion. He didn't want, but he said, now I believe in God. He said it openly. You know. So there are more proof to believe in God. Sometimes atheists challenge, okay, if God does exist, what is the proof he's there? And what you will tell that person if challenge you like that? What is the proof that God is there? I'm asking you. I would like to hear your opinion. You have to take participation in this. Please do.
Energy can never be created. Like things can't just start by itself. Okay, so if there's let's say anything. It's one of the laws of physics. If something's standing right here, will it just move by itself?
That's right. That's very good.
So you need something or someone to push it. That's the only way it will move.
Very good argument. Isaac Newton had an atheist friend, and they will always have discussion about God and no God, you know. And one day, this friend came to Newton's laboratory, and he found a small model of the solar system, of our solar system. After a while, Newton arrived there, and his friend congratulated him. Oh, congratulations, you made a very nice, model of the solar system. He said, no, I didn't make it. Oh, no, one of your collaborators made it, under your direction, of course. No, I don't. I think it just appeared by itself here. So his friend said, are you joking with me today? So Newton told him, so you don't believe that it could have appeared by itself here? No, of course not. Nothing. That's not logical, you know. But you want me to believe that the original, which is much bigger, more, that appeared by itself. So he defeated him with his own argument. That's intelligence, you know. So nowadays, children at school, they are being taught about the Big Bang and Darwin's evolution, all atheism, isn't true? Are you taught in the school those things? Yes, no? A few years ago, I went to Argentina, and on Sunday feast, one lady came to talk to me, devotee. She told me, can you please speak to my 11 years old daughter? She's confused because I tell her something, and at school they tell her that Big Bang and Darwin, there is no God. She's confused, so she please, if you can talk to her, answer her doubts, you know. And I said, yes, of course. So I spoke with the girl, and I gave her all these good arguments, you know, I mentioned. And then I asked her, who do you believe more, your teacher or me? She said, I believe more what you say because it sounds more logical to me. And actually, it is a fact that it's more fantasy to believe that everything came up just by itself. It sounds more like science fiction. Nothing behind creation, everything came out by its own, you know, than to believe there is a supreme intelligence behind the creation. Yeah, there is a creation. You know? When Prabhupada heard about the Big Bang theory, you know how the Big Bang theory came to exist? I will explain to you. Before that theory, there was another theory. That theory also was atheist, that the universe is eternal, so never was created. If it was not never created, then there is no creator. It was an atheist idea also. Then a religious scientist, you know, studying the cosmos, he was a cosmologist. Actually, he was a monk, Christian monk. He discovered with precise mathematical calculation that the galaxies are distancing themselves from each other. So he concluded by this mathematical, precise study, and that the universe is expanding. And since the universe is expanding, it must have started from a point. He wanted to prove that there was creation. And if there is creation, there must be a creator. He didn't want to make a theory atheist, no. That was not his idea. But other scientists, they manipulated the, what you call the word, switched his theory to make it atheist. That it just happened by itself, a big explosion. General explosions don't create anything. They destroy, they don't create. Like recently, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, and I saw the video, they bombing the city. There's not that a bomb fall in the house and the bricks fly away, and again another house next is made, It doesn't make sense. So those things don't create anything, they destroy. So this idea of Big Bang, there was an explosion and matter flew away, and then all the planet came round shaped, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Just by coincidence. Doesn't make sense. Why some planet didn't come a different, square shaped or a different shape? And why the sun is so at this perfect distance from Earth planet, so well, not to burn it or not to make it icy completely. So there is intelligence behind this. I mean, everything you see in creation has a design and has a purpose, isn't it? For example, this apparatus here has a design, has a form, and has a purpose to amplify the voice, isn't it? The same thing, the sun has a shape, has a design, and a purpose to give heat and light to the universe. So what is the purpose of human beings? We have God-given intelligence, superior to the animals, because we have more responsibility than animals. Why human being can live in nice houses and have nice family, jobs, all say why? Because they have more responsibility. And what is that highest responsibility? Beyond society, family, and all this is to seek self-realization, to understand our real self as a spirit soul, as part of God, as eternal servant of Krishna. That's the purpose of human life. Prabhupada said university education is not real education, just an art to learn, some ability so you can honestly earn your livelihood, But real education, he said, is Atma Tattva, to know the truth about your soul, about yourself, and about God, of course. That's spiritual education. And that is lacking in society, the spiritual education. Material education is available everywhere, but spiritual education, very minimal. We coming here, everything is for the body, all the advertisement, all the things are made just for the comfort of the body. There is no much information about the soul or God. Practically speaking, they avoid talking about these things in the media, isn't it? And why is that? Why is that? Because in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, people are becoming more and more irreligious, That's the symptom of this age. But Krishna consciousness is so powerful. The philosophy is so perfect because it's given by Krishna, God himself, that with logic and argument, we can convince anyone that God is real, that we are real. When Prabhupada arrived in London first time, in 1969, he was interviewed at the airport, press conference, and they challenged him. Why are you coming here? He said, I'm coming here to give you what you forgot to take from India. You ruled India for so many years and you stole so many things from there But you forget to take the most valuable thing. I'm coming to bring it to you. And what is that? That is Krishna consciousness, God consciousness. You forget to take that with you, you know. Because religion without philosophy can be sentimental or even fanatic. But we have our own religion. We don't need new religion. No, this is not a new religion. This is more ancient than your religion. This is 5,000 years old. So we have something to learn from India's philosophy about God. It's the most ancient one and most perfect. If we study analytically, you know, all religions of the world, you will find that there is only one God. He may have different names and form, but there is only one supreme God. Once I was visiting home, giving home program, and what is the name of that city that they're famous for car? Detroit, yes. And one Indian lady, she asked me that at her work, her colleague challenged her that they try to convert her to Christian. They preach to her only Christian, only God, only Christ saves, and all these things, you know. So fanatical. And she tried to be polite, not to argue with them, you know, and all this. So he asked me how to deal with the situation. I told her next time they, you know, try to convert you, you just ask them this simple question. Is God limited or unlimited? Of course, they will say God is unlimited. Then you ask them that question. If God is unlimited, why you want to limit Him only to your religion? Isn't it? The same thing happened with Prabhupada. He was also challenged, you know. When he spoke with the religious people, they said, no, Jesus is the only Son of God. Prabhupada said, is God limited or unlimited? Of course, it's unlimited. Why you want to limit Him to have only one son? You can have more than one son. Why you... They're close-minded, you know. They have to use their logic, intelligence, you know, to understand God. They have to open up the mind. So even you know, sincere, honest, religious people, they appreciated Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada himself said, I met one priest at the airport, and he asked me this question, why your disciples are so bright-faced, you know? He said, what you do, how you made them so attracted to God? Before they were part of our community, but they never came to church. And now they are mad after God. How does that happen? Because God is all attractive. Krishna is all attractive. Unless He's all attractive, He can't be God. But since most religions, they have very little information about God's form and God's activities, then God is like a very distant idea, you know. Far away. He is far away in heaven and we are suffering here. And we don't know why we're suffering. We sometimes blame Him. No? Sometimes people blame God, you know, for this thing. There was a rabbi who wrote a book entitled, Why Bad Things Happen to Good People. Because he suffered himself the loss of his son, you know, a small child. In a car accident, he lost his son, so he was very much suffering. So he started doubting God. So he said, if God allowed this to happen, then there must be no God, you know. But I don't want to be an atheist. I do still believe in God. So what's the solution? So in his book, he writes that the solution is that God doesn't have full control over His creation. Yet sometimes things happen out of His control. And that also is a wrong idea. Because unless God is all powerful, how can He be God? He has full control over His creation. Once I was in a radio interview in Spain, in Madrid, And they invited many religions, Buddhists, Christian, Muslims, Jew, everyone. They invited us also for a live discussion, where like 100,000 people listening, to the conversation. And this topic came up. So I offered the solution. I explained the law of karma, Every action has a reaction. We are creating our own happiness, our own distress by our own action. Isn't it? So then one of the religious people asked me, well, if that is the fact, then what time did the child have to do anything bad to deserve to die prematurely and suffer like this? I said, well, if you see a child suffering, you have to imagine, or if you see an iceberg floating in the ocean, you only see the upper part, you don't see the part below the water. You don't see that. So you don't know if this child in his past life, he could have been Hitler. He could have killed many millions of people. And now he has chronic disease and suffering and all this thing that we blame God. That means our ignorance. Of course, we have to be compassionate for anybody's suffering, and we have to be, helpful the best we can to ease people's suffering. But the philosophy or knowledge of Krishna consciousness actually gives relief to people, because people suffer because they don't know why they're suffering. But once you know why you're suffering, then it becomes easier to tolerate the suffering. So ignorance is the cause of all suffering in the world. Only because of ignorance people do bad things. But many people don't know what is bad, what is good. Once a reporter asked Prabhupada, in your opinion, what is good and what is bad? We don't know. Prabhupada said, good is not to drink wine or take any drugs, not to eat meat, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. That is good. And bad is to do all these things. Very simple. Very simple answer. Also in the Bible, sometimes I speak to many Christian people, when I preach, and once a Christian man came to our temple in Mexico with his Bible in hand. So I quoted the Bible. I like to quote Bible from time to time, I grew up Christian too, and it is in Romans 14:21. It said, it is good not to eat meat or drink wine. So he opened this book, holy book, and found that, it is true, it is. But it say it is not good, doesn't say it is bad. So I asked him, if something is not good, what it is? If something, you understand what I mean? What is the opposite of black, white? So, they have to justify it in some way because they can't give it up, because they are too attached to it. To the taste of the meat, they are attached to it. That's Prabhupada said we have to put ghee on the food, so the prasad, so they will develop higher taste. It's not an easy thing, you understand? When Prabhupada was at the airport one time in Philadelphia, one reporter asked him, Lord Jesus Christ made many miracles. What miracles have you done? Challenging. Prabhupada showed his disciples. They were there with him. Before, they were addicted to illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, intoxication. Now they gave up all these things to serve God. Is not that a miracle? Well, yes, it is a miracle. It is easier to cure somebody's hand or leg or something than to change his heart and make him a believer, a true follower. That's more miraculous, isn't it? So, that's the reality. All right, so I hope the children now have good argument not to believe the Big Bang. And actually, Prabhupada said about Darwin, we have to kick Darwin's face with a boot. Meaning philosophically, to defeat, because the Vedas speak about evolution. The Padma Purana speak about evolution, how the soul is transmigrating from lower bodies to higher bodies. And the Vedas is explained. There are 900,000 species of aquatics, 2 million species of plants and trees, 1,100,000 species of insects and reptiles, 1 million varieties of birds, and 3 million varieties of beasts, and 400,000 varieties of human-like. Not only this planet, the whole universe. So the Veda explain that the soul is transmigrating from lower bodies to higher bodies. And when you reach human body, then you can inquire about the truth, who I am, what I am suffering, who's God, what is my relationship with Him. That's the beginning of human life, when you inquire about the truth. What is that verse in the Vedanta Sutra that speaks that? Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now inquire about the truth. Brahma, about the soul, about God. Now that you're human, it is your duty to inquire about the truth. Isn't it? So, but since Darwin, before he was Christian, of course he became atheist, but before he was Christian, and in Christian religion, they don't acknowledge that animals have soul. And that's a mistake, of course. They think there is human soul, and soul is soul. It doesn't matter what body it may have, animal or plant or human. It's a soul. Because without a soul, there can't be a life in the body. Unless the body is alive, there is no soul. A simple thing. I remember, learning in the Krishna religion that we are body, soul, and spirit. 3 things. So we can't be 3 things. We have to be one thing. And I learned from my Guru Prabhupada that soul and spirit are one and the same. Not 2 different things. One thing. That's why he always put spirit soul. Because there is no material soul, only spirit soul. So soul and spirit is one and the same thing. But they confuse people with this idea. I remember some years ago in Venezuela, South America, some Christian nuns, they were preaching, we are not the bodies, we are the spirit, And they chastised them. No, you should not preach like that. You should say we are body, soul, and spirit. It's like you put the globe in your hand with your finger. It looks the globe alive, but the globe is not alive. It's only because the hand is inside it looks alive. The same way this body looks alive because the spirit soul is inside the body. It's a common sense thing. If animals can eat, sleep, have children, bleed, suffer, protest, cry, how is that they don't have soul like we have? So that's a big mistake in our religion, that not to acknowledge there is a soul in the body of animals or plant. That's a big mistake. But I mean to say, Lord Jesus Christ, he did believe that animals deserve our compassion, because I read one book called what is the name of the Scrolls of the Dead Sea. You heard about this book. So in that book, Lord Jesus said, God gave Saint Elijah, the 10 Commandments. And the 5th commandment says you should not kill. But Saint Elijah saw that the Jews' heart was very hard. So to avoid killing each other, he allowed them to do animal sacrifice. So the idea to divert their violent tendency to sacrifice animal and not to harm each other. But by doing animal sacrifice, Jesus said, their heart became more hard and they killed each other also. But I am telling you, he said, don't kill humans nor animals also. Because if you eat dead animals, your own body will be your own tomb. And if you eat alive food, you will have more life, meaning vegetarian. And if somebody kills an animal, has to pay for it, he said. So he's accepting the law of karma. That if you do harm an animal, you have to suffer for it. It's a fact, isn't it? So this philosophy, Krishna consciousness, is the perfect knowledge of all religions. Because analyze everything. Nothing is left mystery. In a lagoon, you don't know. Some time ago, I was visiting a friend, Guru Prasad Swami in Texas, and he showed me the newspaper. One Christian preacher has his own church and everything. He's saying that unless we accept karma and reincarnation, there is no way to explain the problems in the world. Very intelligent, very intelligent. And you know that there is a statistic that 70% of Christian people believe in reincarnation. You know that? At least in South America, Catholics, 70%, they believe in reincarnation. Maybe not in America, but it is increasing, people are becoming more open-minded and learning, So we should not shy away when we have to tell the truth to people, at work, at home, at school, anywhere. If they ask us, we have to give them the proper answer. That's why it's important to read Prabhupada's book and to learn nicely, the philosophy. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you have any comment or question, please do. And we'd like also to hear from you. Yes, please.
Why if one is a teacher and like when teaching biochemistry or something, you have to, evolution is part of it. How does one present it and yet at the same time not deviate from it?
Please repeat the first part, I didn't hear it
I was
clearly.
saying one is a teacher and we have to present evolution, like with Darwinian evolution, then how could we do it?
How to present it?
Yeah,
If one is a teacher,
if one is a teacher in a school.
if one is a teacher and they're a devotee, how do they present Darwinian theory? Because they have to present it because they're a teacher.
Oh, they are a teacher, they have to say the truth. They can't cheat people. They have to say, okay, Darwin only missed something. He took the idea from the Vedas, but he missed something. We believe in evolution, yes, we believe in evolution, but Darwin missed that there is soul in the bodies who are evolving.
They'll probably lose their job, right?
I mean to say, there is a free speech, isn't it? If you can't say your own, then change your job, If you're you have to cheat people saying them Darwin is right, then better find another job, You have to compromise so much to become atheist, to teach atheism, then what is the use of having a job like that? To say, you have to talk to them, you have to respect my beliefs, I'm not an atheist, so I do believe in evolution, but I believe there is a soul evolving from the bodies from lower to higher. You just add the part that there is a soul in the animal's body. That's all. I'll tell you one story, true story. Many years ago, the Christian believed that the Earth planet was created 6,000 years ago. You know that? Huh? Now, of course, they can't say that anymore, because science has proven otherwise, no? But the Vedas said that millions of years, isn't it? So the Vedas are more right in that sense. Anyway, so this teacher was teaching that because of the archaeological discovery, the planet could not have been only 6,000 years old, but much older, millions of years older, So they were going to throw him out of this Christian school, because it was a Christian school. They were going to, he loses his job, So he had to go to court to fight for his right, to teach what he believes, And he had a very good lawyer to defend him, So the lawyer said, we are both Christian, we are not atheists or anything, but we believe also that there are some scientific proven truth that we can't deny. So using this logic that God, according to the Bible, created the world in 6 days and took rest in the 7th day, that's what the Bible said. Okay, the first day that God created the world, there was no sun. So that means time could not be calculated like we know it now. So, Mr. Judge, do you believe that the first day of creation could have lasted, instead of 24 hours, could have lasted maybe 25 hours? The judge said, yeah, that's possible. And then if it can last 25 hours, can last also 25 million years. Because there is no sun. How can you know how much the first day of creation lasted? So with this argument, he won the case. And he didn't lose his job. He didn't lose his job. So devotees have to be brave a little bit, For example, in India, there was a factory owned by devotees. And all the workers were devotees. So they will put tilak on, go to work, Then the owner changed, a Muslim owner came in. And he told all the workers, from tomorrow nobody can use tilak. Next day, all of them came without tilak, only one had tilak. And the owner said, from now on, only he can wear the tilak. Because he was brave enough to do it. He will allow it to do it. So sometimes you have to be a little brave, take the risk for Krishna. And things may come right, who knows? Hare Krishna.
I have a question from you.
Please do.
So, some people ask, even eating plants is it has consciousness. How can you say it's not sin? So, what to talk to those kind of people?
All right, this is a common argument.
Yeah.
When you speak to them about vegetarianism, they say, well, that plant also have life, so you are also killing. That's a common argument. To defeat this argument is very easy. If you give a child an apple, or you give a piece of meat with blood in it, what the child will grab first? Isn't it? It's common sense. If you pick an apple from a tree, you don't kill the tree. The tree is still giving apples. Isn't it? So it's much less violent. Much less violent. Also, the animal have more developed system of what we call nervous system is much more developed than vegetables, so they feel more the pain more acutely. That's from the scientific point of view. Now, from the spiritual point of view, it is not enough just to be vegetarian. We preach that. You have to know that everything belongs to God, and God is allowing you to eat this kind of food only. And you have to offer it first with love to God, to Krishna, and then you can take. And the life in this plant will evolve faster to human life by offering it to God. So that's the answer, Ishan. Hare Krishna. All right. Any other last question? Very good. Thank you very much. I hope the topic was to your
thank you
pleasure
so
and
much.
satisfaction. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Your Premanandi.